Now, the good people of Kansas considered firing Sam Brownback, that's their governor. Part of the reason is he cut taxes on the rich, and it turned out they had a giant deficit. And because of that, he then had to cut state spending on education. So he literally took from the poor, the middle class, from your kids, if you live in Kansas, and gave it to the rich. He's a reverse Robin Hood. But ironically, the people he did that for gave him so much money to run his campaign that he ran a whole bunch of advertising to deceive the people in Kansas into thinking that he was a good guy representing the average guy, the average citizen in Kansas. And all that money bought him the lies that he needed to win his election. So Sam Brownback is the governor again. Great. Guess what they released today in the news? Right after the elections. Oh, did we say the deficit was going to be bad? We meant it's going to be worse. What a coincidence this comes out right after the election rather than before the election. Let's give you the details. Kansas will face a $279 million budget shortfall by July, far worse than state officials had thought before a new revenue forecast on Monday. Gee, I wonder if the governor had anything to do with not releasing the far worse forecast until the elections were over. Well, let's give you more details on what's going to happen the year after. The state will also be required to close an even bigger additional gap, $436 million, during the following 12 months, according to the new forecast. You have to understand something. This is not the federal government. For the state of Kansas, these are gigantic numbers. So, seeing that the tax cuts did not result in more jobs, Kansas' economy actually suffered and went below the national average. It didn't work, right? And you have this enormous budget shortfall. So obviously now you got to turn around, right, and realize that, and even Reagan did near the end of his 2 terms. He said, okay, well, we got to increase taxes a little bit. That was out of control. Did Sam Brownback learn that lesson? Of course not. The state cut its top rate 26% and exempted the owners of 191,000 businesses from income taxes altogether. And further reductions are promised, including a decrease in the top rate next year. So they took basically the richest 191,000 people in Kansas and eliminated their taxes. And now they're going to say, look, whatever is remaining of the tax base, we're going to destroy that too. If you're in a top bracket, you're going to get even more goodies. See, isn't this ironic? The Republicans always complain, oh, the Democrats just want to hand out goodies before the election. People vote for them because of their economic interest, because they want to get things like welfare or unemployment checks, etc. No, the Republicans say that because it's projection. It's exactly what they do. They say it before an election, they go to the rich and they say, I'll give you all the tax cuts you want. I'll even eliminate your taxes. You give me campaign contributions. I stay in power, and round we go. It destroys the economy. Who cares? I'm in the business of doing crony capitalism. I'm in the business of corruption. I'm in the business of handing out goodies for you guys. Goodies to the poor or the middle class. Why would I do that? They can't pay me. You guys can pay me. So I give you the money and you give some of it back to me. This is how corruption works. And Kansas, unfortunately, is the top purveyors of it at this point. And it's not a coincidence. The guys who pour in the most amount of money in Kansas are the Koch brothers from the state of Kansas. You like how Koch brothers democracy is working for you, Kansas? All right. So we go now to Sean Sullivan, the governor's budget director. Come on, man, you've got to have some sense of decency and turn around, right? Wrong. Quote, we continue to cut taxes every year, which is a great thing. Now, how can you say it's a great thing after it's pulverized your state budget and now you're going to have to reduce spending, including it on education all across the board? Well, it isn't a great thing for you if you live in Kansas, but you're an idiot. You put them in office. So they say, hey, man, if you're going to keep us in power, we're going to keep doing exactly what we did before. Take your money and distribute it to the rich. Sad day for you. Keep voting Republican, we'll keep stealing your money.